Sadia, there's been a lot said about you recently, some of it fair, some of it not. Why do you think people have targeted you so aggressively? And what do you say to those who now question your credibility?
Okay. Well, actually, I did a talk in New York, and I was on stage, and the woman, it was held by successful men, about entrepreneurs, and one of the women there was very honest, and she said that my reason for not wanting you there, not liking you, I didn't even watch your content, but I hated the way other men would see you as kind of like an epitome of a valuable person, or an epitome of like an elegant woman, or the epitome of that. And I think what happens is, if I said the exact same things and I did the exact same content, but maybe was 20 years older, or maybe I, was a bit overweight, or whatever it is, I think it would resonate a lot better with people. I think they would just accept that this is a form of wisdom. I think society is not used to the idea of a woman being a bit put together and having some intellectual credibility. So if they can't attack you about your appearance, and they can't attack you about your chastity, they'll go straight for your credibility. Now, what they've tried to do is attack me on all fronts. They've tried to say she's not chaste, and slander is always really effective way to reduce a woman's kind of value. And they're not credible, and then overall she's the worst thing ever. She's like the devil. And so they've tried to do all of that, and successfully. I'm not going to lie, they've done it very well. But the problem is, people aren't actually invested in the truth. They're invested in you breaking down the person that they envy or hate the most. So even whether there's truth to it or not, they're not actually invested in that. So I'd love, even if I was to give my side of the story, the problem I'm going to face is the people that have hatred and jealousy towards you don't care about the truth. And even though we can easily find the truth, they don't want to do the investigation for that. So for example, one of the comments was, that she charges $8,000 an hour. If you just click on my link on my bio, you'll see I charge $300 an hour, which is, 100 times less than what they're saying. But they don't want to do that fact checking. Or even the fact that they say, she was with a married man because there's some kind of voice recording. That I can be honest with you, and I'm happy for you to even bring the receipts to this.
Yeah, the voice recording essentially, to my understanding, looked like you were saying something to another woman about a guy that she was with. Can you kind of explain the situation?
Yeah, absolutely. So what actually happened is I had no memory of this whatsoever. I've never been with anybody married, never been with anybody engaged. That's a verifiable fact. So I assumed this was fake. When I went to the police and stuff about it and legal things, I said just to ask around and see what's been going on. And I spoke to somebody. In 2021, I was a teacher. I wasn't famous. There was nothing. I was not a famous person in any way, shape or form. So I didn't understand what was going on. But I went to everybody I worked with. I was a teacher of psychology. So people who say, she's got fake degrees and fake this. I was literally teaching psychology for 10 years before I did this. You can't fake that. And I literally have all the qualifications for that. So you can't work in institutions without qualifications. So I was working as a teacher of psychology, and there was one person I worked with, and he said, I don't know if you know this or remember this, but there was a girl that I just started dating. I didn't know her very well. Like, we've never been an official, because this person's never been married, never been engaged. And the troll who released this has referenced him by the name J.O. This person's never been married, never been engaged, never been in a serious relationship. He's very young. And so none of that is true. You can even see from pictures, he's never been married or engaged. So I didn't think there was anything to worry about. And he said, but I just started seeing some girl. She kind of went through my phone and saw that we send videos and memes to each other during work, because we work together. And she rang you. Do you remember she rang you? And I was like, I actually don't remember this. And he's like, she rang you and she recorded it without you knowing. I had no idea of this. So I was like, yeah, but where would she get the married part from? And he said, before that, they've only snipped 6 seconds of a 20-minute call. Before that, she was saying, well, what kind of woman are you? I bet you spend all your time on your knees, and kind of insulting my religion, consulting my background. I didn't know this woman. I'd never been with this man. He's not married. They're not engaged. And I said, excuse me, don't get rude to me. If I wanted to, because she said, this is what you do, the key word. And I said, if I wanted to, I could do birthday, wedding, I could do all of that. But I don't want your man. Nobody wants your man. I even went and said, all these other women that this guy messages and talks to, and I said, nobody wants your man. Nobody's with your man. Nobody wants him. Nobody's been with him. Nobody wants him. You need to speak to this person, because none of us are involved. He's not married. He's not engaged. She's never been married. He's online. You can see all of his data online. He's never been married and engaged. The troll that's released this also knows he's never been married and engaged, and also knows there was no affair. That's why he's got a little snippet of him, but he won't take the whole voice recording, and he won't show the interview with the man. Because the moment he releases an interview with the man, everybody can verifiably check he's online on Instagram, been there for 10 years, got an online presence. Everybody can easily see he's never been married, never been engaged. So his whole story falls apart. So that's why he took a tiny 6-second clip of the whole thing. If you you got 20 minutes, you would use loads to get, more and more clips. Took a tiny bit of that and refuses to show the man, refuses to show the interview with the man because the entire story will crumble. No married man and no married woman will ever come forward because they don't exist. And that's why he won't show it. He would deliberately took just 6 seconds of the 20 minutes, because if you listen to the rest of it, it'd be like, nobody wants your man. Nobody is interested in your man. Who are you? I've never heard of you. And go speak to all the other girls he's talking to. He's a single, and by his own admission, he's a single man. And it's just that my tone in that was kind of just cut and made it look like I was talking about a marriage, but what I was really saying, because she had said to me, this is all you do. All you do is this, that, and the other. And I said, excuse me, if I wanted to, I could do birthday, this, that, and the other. But nobody wants your man. And they're not married and not engaged. So I don't know if that makes any sense. Because
you were responding to what she was accusing you of.
That's what I was trying to say. This man, and I said, there's another girl, and this girl that he talks to, he messages that girl. Why are you coming at me? I was just confused. It was coming towards me. Now, this girl recorded it in 2021, and she and him have never been in a formal relationship. They only dated for a very brief time. Even when I asked him, do you know anything? He goes, I haven't spoken to him in 5 years. I don't know. We were so brief. I didn't even know that she would even hold on to this. She held on to that for 5 years straight and was waiting for her opportunity to kind of give it to somebody and out of context. I don't know if she gave the whole voice recording, because if she did, you'd hear all of it. She took that 10 seconds, sent it to him, and then they both kind of, discussed it, and that's how it went everywhere. Now, it's taught me a lot of lessons about that, but the psychoticism of this particular person, that there's two people that are involved, both her and the troll involved, is endless. It's genuinely endless. I didn't even know that people could hold on to that much anger and hate resentment, because bear in mind, I've never spoken to her since or after, and I've never spoken to this man. Since the day I haven't spoken to this man in years, and there was no affair, nothing, nobody was married, nobody was engaged, none of those things. So it's taught me a valuable lesson that one thing I underestimated is I think I have a presence, either online or in person, whatever it is, which I evoke a strong reaction out of people, good or bad. It's a strong, intense reaction. So when people hate me, it's with so much intensity, because what I was most surprised about is how much women were jumping on this and like, doing videos. As women, shouldn't we be discovering this man that's having the affair? Shouldn't we be like, oh my God, he's the one that cheated on the wife. Maybe she didn't know, whatever it is. Shouldn't we go find the man? And even this man that, released it, his whole Instagram is based on exposing fitness of people who are, fakes. And this man is a fitness influencer. If he was a married man having an affair, shouldn't we be exposing that person? Now, the way the women kind of jumped on it, and they saw the misogyny behind it. They saw that this man is being protected, this apparent married man, which doesn't exist because he's never been married, but he's being fully protected. But then I am being like completely blasted on the internet. Wouldn't the woman in you be like, okay, well, first of all, why are the men protecting the men? Why don't we find this man? He's the actual person involved. But it was like a rejoicing of like, yes, she's not perfect. She's this. Yeah. And the thing is, I've never claimed to be any of those things. I've never ever said I'm a high value woman. I've never said I do this. I'm just saying this is what happens in relationship sense. But because you see me as a high value man, a woman, you think I'm saying that. I've never said that.
Discrediting you definitely serves their narrative more.
Oh, massively.
I will ask though, Sadia, what was your husband's reaction to like hearing the voice recording and like learning about this story?
Luckily, he knew the person involved. He knew the man involved. He knows he's never been married, never been engaged. He's known in Dubai. His online presence is not a possibility. So he knows that it's false. The harder part was seeing how happy that kind of community was to see me being held at the stake. I just think that was the hardest part, to see how many people rejoice at the idea of Sadia Khan being like exposed, and just seeing how many more views people get when they mention me in their thumbnail. I would see girls doing videos on YouTube, their regular views is like 100 200 views, and I come on, it's like thousands and thousands of views. So it just shows how much there's an appetite to see people that kind of fall. So I think that was the hard part.
So his initial reaction was to protect you, not, is this true?
Yes, absolutely. And it's hard. Look, here's what I would say. It is super, super hard, both for I think the main thing is my parents. I am a very tough person. I'm a very strong, I can handle pretty much everything. But I think when your parents are being dragged through it and people are, saying things to your parents, anything that affects your parents has a lasting impact. And I think that's what I'm actually suffering with more. I can handle my own in almost every scenario, but I can't handle my parents being affected. And regardless of the scenario, me saying words of that effect, even if somebody said to me, is this what you just suck, whatever, and I said, excuse me, if I wanted to, me just regurgitating that to another person is not a reflection of how I've been raised. It's not a reflection of how I am. So I think that's what they found the hardest. They just don't recognize this behavior. But I have to say, like, I have a tongue on me. So I'm one of those people as articulate and I can be when it comes to relationship advice. If you try me, I'll be equally articulate when I'm ratchet. So I'm like, what? So, and I'll go ham in that area as well. So I have this tongue on me and I have this temper on me, which unfortunately can be used against me. So it's something I definitely need to work on. Unfortunately, I haven't. I still have this energy where, like, don't try me. Like, if you try, like, just because I look classy and put together doesn't mean I won't tell you what's going on. And I'm still like that. But it is definitely not something that serves you well in this online environment.